Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of 12th Man Up. Thank you for joining me on your free time. Today, we're going to be talking about the quarterback spot for us. It is not news anymore that Russell Wilson has now been traded to the Denver Broncos in exchange for Drew Lock, Shelby Harris, Noah Fant, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a 5th-round pick. That is a mouthful. But I was definitely surprised that Seattle decided to make this decision. I mean, this is a league that is so focused on having a star quarterback that can take you to the Super Bowl. This is a quarterback league. So it definitely became a shock to me that Seattle decided to do this. But now we got different quarterbacks that we can look into. So the question of the day is, what quarterback should replace Russell Wilson? First person we're going to get into is Drew Lock. Drew Lock was a decent prospect coming out of college. Both Pete and John both thought that he had great potential and that they were actually even considering picking him up. Obviously, they didn't, so he ended up going to Denver. Now, in Denver in 2019, he actually did really good. He played only for 5 games, but he went 4-1 in those 5 games, threw 7 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So he was ready to kind of prove himself in that next 2020 season. But they decided to make a coaching change. And this is kind of why Drew Lock believes he kind of started to go downward, because he went 4-9 in that 2020 season and threw 6 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, which is really bad. He then, in the 2021 season, only played 3 games where he lost all 3 of them, and threw two touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and it was just, he definitely needed a change. So I'm glad Seattle's given him a second opportunity to kind of prove himself. He will be battling against Geno Smith in this next season. Geno Smith, we just gave a contract extension to, and I don't mind them both going at it for the starting quarterback position. Do I believe that they're both long-term franchise quarterbacks? No, I don't. I don't think they're a long-term solution to winning a Super Bowl. I would like to be proven wrong. I would love to be proven wrong, but I don't think they're it. We'll have to see. For Geno Smith, he was a solid backup. He's always been pretty much a solid backup. When he came in for Russell Wilson last season, he did an okay job. I mean, he lost to the Steelers and he lost to the Saints, which I don't believe he should have lost to the Saints at all. And that wasn't our defense's fault. He should have done more. Our run game should have done more in that too. But he beat the Jaguars, which was his final game, and he played really well. So kudos to him for that. And so I'm excited to see them both go at it there. There's also a lot of people talking about Malik Willis, who's coming out of the 2022 draft. So we're going to dive into him just a little bit. Malik Willis, who we could possibly pick up with the 9th pick in the 2022 draft. He started out in Auburn, but he was a backup, so he didn't really play as much. So he transferred to Liberty in 2020, where he really began to prove himself. He played really well at Liberty, and the first season he had in Liberty in 2020, his QBR was 155.8, which is insane. And he threw 20 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions in that 2020 season. So he was a great pickup for Liberty. And then in the 2021 season, he did great again. He wasn't as good as his 2020 season. He threw 27 touchdowns, but threw 12 interceptions. And so that's where there's kind of a flaw issue, is he is very well built, and he's almost got that Cam Newton movement on the football field, and he's got a cannon for an arm, but he just throws way too many interceptions. I keep hearing people talk about how he'll make such a great play, and then the next one, it's just a dumb interception. So he is a risk. He is a bust or a boom. Do I believe Seattle should pick him up? No, I don't. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think they should, especially because of the quarterback prospects we have next season, which is what I'm going to get into right now. So even though this up-and-coming draft, we have the 9th pick in the 2022 draft, in the 2023 draft, we have the 9th and 10th pick, where we could possibly pick up these 2 quarterbacks who look possibly either one of these two quarterbacks who look absolutely amazing, which is Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. You have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have Trevor Lawrence already. Hopefully he does good over there. Who have the first round pick in the 2023 draft. So what we could possibly do is we could possibly give Jacksonville both those, that 9th and 10th pick, in exchange for that first pick to pick up Bryce Young, which would be amazing. Bryce Young out of Alabama, which is where he's played, has been phenomenal. In his 2021 season, he threw 47 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions with a QBR rate of 167.5. I mean, he has just been absolutely phenomenal over there. And then if, we can't pick up Bryce Young, we also have C.J. Stroud, who looked absolutely amazing at Ohio State. He threw 44 touchdowns and then only 6 interceptions with a QBR rate of 186.6. Both phenomenal quarterbacks, and I think the best long-term solution for Seattle. But there are other quarterbacks in the talk that have been in the news. One of them, as you guys are all probably familiar with, is Baker Mayfield. He has been a hot topic in the news media as to where he should go, especially after the letter he sent out and the Browns picking up Deshaun Watson. He really kind of got mistreated there in Cleveland. So he even said just the other day that his most likely option is to go to Seattle, which is tough now after we just re-signed Geno Smith. So I don't know how that's going to work out. But Mayfield, in my opinion, he's a good quarterback. I don't think people give him enough credit. He took the Browns to the playoffs after years of not even seeing it. And he played well. I don't think the coaching staff is great in Cleveland, but I also think he has some flaws. He's very stubborn. He's kind of got that young mojo, cockiness, which is a lot different from what we used to have in Russell Wilson. And I personally, as much talent as Baker Mayfield has, I don't think it's worth picking up Mayfield just to pay him all this money to not even take us deep into the playoffs. I don't think, because at the end of the day, what is it about? It's about winning a Super Bowl, right? And I don't think Mayfield is the guy who's going to take us deep into the playoffs and win us a Super Bowl. And I think he's too much money. I think people forget how much he even struggled to connect with OBJ. OBJ, who people were saying was on the decline, wasn't that good since he was with the Giants. And then when he played for the Cleveland Browns, he really struggled. Baker could not connect with him. And then all of a sudden, what happens? The LA Rams pick up OBJ, and he does phenomenal. Matthew Stafford and OBJ connect immediately, and he works so well with that wide receiver group. He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. He scored many touchdowns. He found so many openings, and he was able to connect so well. And the point I'm trying to make is, if Matthew Stafford should connect well with OBJ, who people had said was on the decline, I don't think so personally. I just think he had a bad quarterback in Baker Mayfield. Like I said, Baker's decent, but I don't think he's good enough. He struggled to connect with one of the best receivers in the game, and I do not believe he is our long-term issue. Our long-term solution, excuse me. And then, I'm not going to get too much into this. I know Pete Carroll said in the press conference interview with after they traded Wilson, he talked a little bit about Colin Kaepernick. And I don't want it. I don't want it at all. Politics aside, he hasn't played since 2016. That was years ago. And he was the backup to Blaine Gabbert, who isn't even showing his face anymore in the NFL. He is not the solution. He is, in my opinion, drama. And even in 2019, when he had that workout where he even changed the time and the location, 7 teams still showed up to watch him, and nothing came of it. Pete Carroll said that this team is all about second chances. Seattle's all about second chances. I don't think it should be about second chances. I think Seattle should be about doing whatever they possibly can to win the Super Bowl. And I think with these 2 other quarterbacks that are coming up in this next draft in 2023, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, it will be such a good draft for quarterbacks next year. It is worth the wait, and hopefully this season we can just build around, build around that quarterback position while Drew Lock and Geno Smith are fighting for that starting position, and see how they do. See if they can prove themselves. But then in this draft, just pick up things that we need, like cornerbacks, linebackers, offensive linemen, some key things, and then wait till next season to get that starting quarterback, because you don't want to get a quarterback early. Like, you don't want to get a Malik Willis and have a terrible offensive line. Kind of build up that offensive line for Bryce Young, for CJ Stroud, so that when they're in that pocket, they're comfortable and they can get the ball out well. And I think this is the best option. I really think it would be amazing if to see one of these two guys with a Seahawks jersey, and to think, oh my goodness, Seattle is now a real team again. I mean, look at what happened with the Bengals. I mean, the Bengals who picked up Joe Burrow, Bengals were not successful at all. And then all of a sudden, when they picked up Joe Burrow and he got healthy after his injury, that next season he took them to a Super Bowl. And he was really a blessing from above for the Bengals, and he's done great there. And I'm hoping that either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud will be that same thing for Seattle. But yeah, feel free to comment below what you guys think. I'm looking forward to making more videos to talk about different things with Seattle. Draft is coming up soon. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time.